Hello and welcome to this vlog. My name's Kat. I run Loops by Kat, and today I am gonna continue my little color series, and I'm gonna make green Pokemon today. The first thought was staying in Gen 1. That's what I usually do. Turns out that's really hard as there's not that many green Pokemon in Gen 1. And I don't want to just make Caterpie and Metapod and call it a day. So what we're going to do is I'm branching out. I'm going into some other generations. For one, maybe two of these Pokemon I'm going to make. I asked on my Instagram for suggestions for this. And I got a lot. I got like all of these. So many. I decided that I would at least need to do one from Gen 1. That's going to be Metapod. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna make a Metapod. Some also suggested like an Ivysaur or Venusaur, but in my mind, in my opinion, they're not truly green. Their main color is like a turquoise, which is partly green, but I would rather not have them in a fully green video. I want to do them, but not right now. So starting with Metapod, and then we'll see where the day goes. To start with this, as I always do, I drew up Metapod. It is very sketchy. You should know that by now. This is what we got. Again, sketchy, but I think I got it. This is maybe a bit too big. I've been making a lot of big pieces. I've made like Blastoise and Lapras, both the size of my head. And they take forever when they're that size. So, the plan is to make it smaller. Hopefully. Not have a giant Metapod, but let's see how that goes. I'm gonna split up his body in two pieces because I think it's gonna make the shaping a lot easier to do it that way. I'm gonna make from here to around here and finish it off here. I'm gonna make this piece with the little rings on the tail. I'm gonna make it from here up till here, and I can shape both of them a little bit so we get this banana shape. And because we're sewing this piece onto this piece, we can also adjust how much of a curve we get instead of doing either like short rows or half double crochets in the front, which I don't personally like the look of that, so I try to avoid it when I can. That is the overall plan. We're starting this vlog a little late. It is like 8, and I've been talking for a long time, so let's pull off some yarn. I have pulled out this color. It's green. There's not a lot to it, honestly. I'm gonna start making a Metapod. It is now the next day. I think you saw it, I finished like the body part. This is where we are so far, and I'm actually really happy with the result. I think we got a nice green banana shape. It is not huge, also great. Next up, we are needing to make, yes, like a spike on the back and some spikes on the front, and then eyes. Lastly, we need to like embroider some details on him. And that should actually be it. I think it's gonna be a quick one, which is a change of pace that I'm happy with. We've been having a few Pokemon that has taken days to complete. And I'm aware that this guy will technically take more than one day, but I did start him at 8 PM last night. So 2 days is fine. I think he'll be done in like maybe 2 hours. It's probably not gonna be, but I'm trying to get it done in like 2 hours. I have now made all the pieces for our Metapod. This is how he's looking so far. I think great, nothing to complain about. The rest of his details are going to be sewn on, like embroidered on. He has a lot of black details in the front, and the ridges in like his tail need to be like blacked out. And because you can't really do that in crochet, I'm gonna embroider that on. I think that this piece actually helped me a lot getting back into this. I have kind of pushed this video and I haven't crocheted Pokemon for like a week, which is unusual. But having something that actually just works out and doesn't take 3 days to do, 3 days full time to do, more or less, it's been nice. And throwing in some easier projects, some smaller projects, definitely helps me out with the motivation and keeping it going. Even though I don't think this dude is gonna do as well as Blastoise did, for example. Blastoise did amazing. I don't think this little guy is gonna do that well, but honestly, it's fine. If you want the whole Pokedex, not everyone's gonna do well. And he's still cute, right? He's still cute. Deserves something, and I'm sure someone might wanna make this little guy. I am gonna try to find a sort of weight for his tail, as it is like an open piece. I can still put a weight in it. Otherwise, I'm afraid he'll just sit like this, and I don't really want that. I want him to sit more upright, at least try to make that happen. He will live on a shelf, and of course it doesn't matter too much, but I would prefer him to stand up. And I need to find like a stone or something. Wish me luck! I just went on like a little adventure to find something to weigh down Metapod. I found these like small balls, ceramic something, I think. They are apparently supposed to be used to, like, when you're making a pie, you put the pie in like the form thing and you put these balls on top of the dough so it won't like rise, I think. We don't really make pies, so I'm gonna steal some of those, and I think those are gonna work fine. We finished our Metapod. And this is him. The details in the black really brought him together. And honestly, I really like him. I don't know what I was afraid of, but he's done. He's nice. And like the weights thingy, it worked very nicely. He's standing very well on his own. He isn't tipping over. Everything's great. So, next up is figuring out what to do next. And my immediate thought is going to be Chikorita. So I think I'm just going to do that. I think I'm going to start drawing up and making Chikorita. It's like almost Gen 1. Start at Gen 2. It's fine. It's almost Gen 1. Right? Okay, I've made it this far on the Chikorita. Sorry, lighting. It's dark now. But I made it this far, and it's the first time I've been doing this kind of extension. Like, I think I've done it like in another pattern, but I've never designed it myself. But I think it's turning out good. I hope, at least. I think I'm at a point where I'm just gonna single crochet around for a little bit. And while I do these like just single crochet rounds, I just wanted to talk about like the fact that making these easier type Pokemons, like in between the harder ones, that apparently is very important to me. I can really feel that the motivation I have for doing these 3 patterns, they are a lot higher. When I remember to pull in some of these easier patterns, like Chikorita is not a very difficult pattern compared to something like Lapras. Blastoise that I did in the last video. So I think that to be able to keep doing this, I need to be aware of what I take in and what I start doing. So for instance, maybe like 1 Pokemon in the video from doing like 3 can be a more difficult one, but I shouldn't take on more than like 2 at most difficult ones in a row, just because that'll make me burn out, because it'll take so long to finish. You never get that high from finishing a project, which apparently I really need, especially when we're talking stuff in this size. It just feels so wrong in a way that something like this takes a week, because like it's not a week worth like in size. Like you could make a full-on blanket. I know I'm working in small yarn and all that, but I think it's just mentally you need a few pieces, or at least I need a few pieces to feel like accomplished and to want to keep going. So I think that that is a struggle you may also have and not realize. I don't think I realized it before, now that I got the motivation back basically instantly, because these have worked up really quickly. So maybe I'll do like a more difficult one as the next one. I will definitely get to do another one in this video. Good morning. It's the next day and I'm sitting here with my breakfast. So I'm early for once. Last night I finished the body with Chikorita. We ended up sewing together like had like a narrow oval, so I sewed that together for the end, which worked out very nicely. The only thing I'm not 100% sure about is these like pearls. Now that I've made the rest and like seeing like the front view, I would like them to be lower, because I don't want to redo all of this. I'm just gonna carry along and make all the rest of the pieces, and if it annoys me at that point, I'm just gonna make a whole new one, because this will still look like a Chikorita. It'll still have a very cute look and all that. So I think I'll just end up doing 2 before I release the pattern, and then adjusting these just 1 or 2 rows down. But for now, this will do. So we need like legs. I think the front legs, as I remember, is gonna be a bit bigger than the back legs. It's just like run rounds difference, I think. There's a little tiny bubble tail, and then of course leaf and eyes. Then it's gonna be the eye placement here that's gonna be a little annoying, with these being a bit high. So when I get to that, I might realize that I have to do it over for the pattern itself. But like the base pattern of this is gonna be the exact same, because I like the size of it. I like how it actually turned out. So I think I'm just gonna move these around a 2 down in the next version, really. But yeah, the plan today is get the rest done so we get a finished look, and then see where we end up. It's about like 10:40, so fairly early compared to when I usually start these. And I have basically the whole day, I think. So let's see how far we get with this. So I have the first like attempt looking something like this, which I don't, it's not bad. If I sew it on like this, it's gonna stick out a little to the side from the front view, and I don't really want that. So I'm gonna make it over. I'm gonna make it a little less pointy. So here I started with 4 single crochet and a magic ring. I'm gonna start with 6 instead. That'll make it a little less pointy, which I think is more right. And then I'm gonna slope it a little, so it's already a little on the slope. And then when you sew it on, it should sit more straight. To do that, I am gonna make the first like 3 rounds normally, just increase out by 3 every round. And after that, I'm gonna collect the increases on one side. That should give me a bit of a slope in the foot. It is now much later. It is evening, about 8:30. I had one of those days where I have been staring a lot into my phone or nothing and haven't really had motivation to do anything. But even with that, I still managed to finish my chikorita. This is how we're looking. Look at this face. Generally speaking, very happy with it. The only thing that I kind of want to change is how this front is going to look. I want these pearls to be further down. I want to move them at least 2 rows down before this goes live anywhere. Because like I like the profile, I just don't like this. It looks weird. And the head is too squished because these are just too high. My mistake, I could have avoided it by sewing them on, but I was lazy. So now I have to pay that price. So I'm gonna do it again at some point. Probably just gonna be an evening where I don't feel like designing. I'm just gonna remake it because again, there's no new designing. I decided to just continue on and do the whole thing. I didn't want to frog it all the way up to here, as that is basically starting over and I didn't want to do that. So we made a first edition. Next up, I'm not quite sure what to do. I think I'm gonna sleep on it. I'm just gonna maybe even work this up again. I'm just gonna chill for the rest of the night, not do any designing, and see what I want to do tomorrow. And hope maybe we'll do a more complicated one. We'll see. It is again the next day. It is already almost 6 o'clock, but I have been working a bit on a pattern and writing some stuff in the computer, doing some video editing, and it's been a lot. But the plan for the rest of the evening really is to start on a new Pokemon. And I've already kind of decided which one I want to do. I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning of this video, but at least I thought that like Ivysaur, Venusaur would be like too blue for green video. And that might be true, but I've decided that I don't care. I want to make an Ivysaur. I decided that I wanted to make an Ivysaur because all of a sudden I got to like looking at it and I realized that I could reuse a lot of pieces from my Bulbasaur. The plan is to basically reuse as much as possible. I'm using the head, probably also the body, and part of the legs. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like close the legs at the end or if I'm gonna leave them open, but I'm gonna be able to repurpose a lot of those pieces. That way they'll also be somewhat the same size. I am gonna make it different though, that this Bulbasaur is obviously sitting. Ivysaur is gonna be standing. That'll give him a bit of a different vibe too, I think. I picked out this color for like the blue-green body. It's kind of a turquoise with like mostly a green tint, I think, compared here. It's definitely more blue when you compare it to a true green, but in general it's like a greenish turquoise. So we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with this for like leaf, and then I have maybe this one for the flower. I have already actually started on the head. Right now we have a square. I'm just gonna continue crocheting. As I said, the head is gonna be basically the same, but I think I'm gonna add in like a row of back loops only for the mouth, and then I'm gonna single crochet across those loops afterwards to make like a little lip. I hope that will end up being good. Hello! It's the next day. Last night I finished, I think you saw that, I finished the head and he got a little lip thing. I'm not sure if I like it or not yet. We'll figure that out. I also finished the body and I think it's good. Kind of flat, and then it like closes up a bit. But when we put them together, it's something like this. With the body, I didn't think too much about having to shape it differently than the Bulbasaur one. Bulbasaur is obviously sitting, meaning that it can basically just go from here to here, no problem, but when it's standing, we definitely need to do it differently. I also ended up finding, not necessarily a mistake, but something that wasn't perfect in the Bulbasaur pattern with the head. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this guy, his head is like a little twisted or looks a little off. I figured out why that was. I had spaced out the increases and decreases a little off. So of course his head will be twisting a little bit. I did fix it in this pattern too, because it didn't really change anything other than moving a few stitches here and there. I just changed it. And next up, I am thinking about doing the legs, so we can get like a pose together and see if every piece I've made so far can actually be used. That's what I'm gonna do today, at least a couple of the legs, and hopefully we'll get them somewhat done today. I doubt it. I don't have too long. I only have like a couple hours, so of course we won't make it. Tomorrow be the day, for sure. I have now successfully made the legs, and this is what we got. Very naked Ivysaur is what we got. I think it's nice. Actually, I'm surprised that it's nice. I was not very sure about it for a while, but actually, I think it's gonna turn out great. It actually balances somewhat, which surprised again. He doesn't have any weight, but like he's not falling forward, not on flat ground either. It's very impressive. Next up, I'm gonna work on the flower, because I think that's gonna be fun. I've decided that I'm gonna make like a bulb in the middle that is just like round-ish with a little tip at the top. And I'm gonna make 2 or 3 petals to go around the side to make it kind of tulip-like. So I hope that'll work out, but I'm really happy with this. It turned out much better than I anticipated, admittedly. It is now, again, the next day. I don't have too much time every day and will not have for the next while, so I'm starting school again next week. But, either way, I think you saw it, but this is how far we've come with a little Ivysaur, and I really like it. I'm gonna work on some petals. For the petals, I'm gonna do like a chain and single crochet around it, or just crochet around it. It's probably not gonna be single crochet. And I'm gonna try to make it fill up a third of this bulb thing. A fourth is also fine, then we'll just have 4 petals. Something like that. I'm trying to not make them overlap too much, as I don't think they should. They should fit nicely.
Even if you've already got it, fine. Actually, yeah, that's funny thing. Like, I also will always have a soft spot. This is the rumour that I picked up on the internet a few days ago. The reason you can't find editions of Circle Man, like, this is throwing me pretty significantly because Dragonite has been a fixture. I don't. Right, so like Schweppes lemonade.
Okay, it is significantly later. Bright spotlight on my head, as you can see. But we got a lot done. We got some leaves, we got the last petals. I think you saw that. We got some eyes, slightly bigger than Bulbasaur's, but same vibe. We got some ears, and it just occurred to me that I need to give him spots that are not just green. But I found this. It's not gonna be perfect, but I think it'll work. And it's just this tiny mini skein, and I have nothing else of this color. Just this tiny thing. So I'm gonna make a bunch of magic rings with this color and give him some spots. And hopefully I'll get to sewing him together too. Because I really want to be done with him. Not that he's not fun to make. I'm so pleased. But I want to be done with him. And I just want to see him finished, like on the shelf. Like, he'll be so cute. So I'll make some spots and I'll get back to you when he's done, I think. Because I'm pretty sure the video is plenty long already. And me making 20 magic rings of varying stitches is not going to be that fun. I finished my Ivysaur. You didn't see any of it because it was dark and I didn't really want to film. But I did finish it. I finished like the details this morning, but I did finish it basically last night. So, big reveal. This is Ivysaur. And honestly, I love him. I think he's cute, even though he's mean, but he's mean. Can't do anything about that. He actually stands. I didn't put any weight in him. He stands very nicely everywhere. It's very cool. I didn't actually expect him to stand, but what do you think? I really like him. And I really like all the Pokemon we did in this vlog here. Actually, we did the Ivysaur. We did a little Chikorita with her derby face. And we did a little pod. Or Metapod. I'm really happy with how all of these turned out, actually. It was very fun to do this. I enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it too, please like the video, leave a comment for what I should do next. I'm doing yellow next. But yeah, we're doing some yellow Pokemon next. Any suggestions for that? If not, subscribe to see when I get to the yellow ones. It'll probably be a few weeks, but I think it's gonna be worth it. There's some good yellow ones. Bye!